Hey guys, it's Rebecca Garner, Garner Financial Coaching. This week I am doing a kind of faith and money episode. I had something other planned, but then I realized, it's Good Friday. Why not implement some things that I have experienced, things that made me kind of question Dave Ramsey's method before I got into it, and also just my personal views currently of what I believe and think about the whole money thing. And so, anyways, let's start this video. So when I was thinking about this, because one of the major issues I had with, as far as not issues, but hurdles that I had to get over and kind of process really was because I have seen so many extravagant faith, um, radical faith giving. So the reason why, and it's so funny because most people don't have those stories, and most people are like, yeah, this is great principles. And I believe that Dave Ramsey is great principles. And I think that there's room for both. And that's where I have just come in my own experience. So I wanted to talk about responsible giving versus radical faith giving, and also stingy giving. So because I've done all three. So let's just start with stingy giving. So one thing that I know that Dave Ramsey does not suggest is just being like a bah humbug Scrooge, where you're just holding on to your money. And you're, even when you're in the process of the 7 baby steps, where the first process that he gives you is to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. So in that process, he never says to stop your giving outflow. And I really appreciate that, because I know some people, financial advisors or somebody, would think, well, you don't have money to be giving away. But at the same time, there is a natural, supernatural, but like a natural law of giving, and it just seems to work out as long as you're looking at your budget and you're working things out, and you're don't ever, what I always suggest is don't think that just holding on is going to protect you from losing, because honestly, it's actually, what I've experienced is the opposite. Is actually giving opens up all these doors you never thought that would open, if for opportunities for making more income. Yeah, so there are, and you can go to the extreme of that, which I would like to talk about. But yeah, so stingy giving is something that even Dave Ramsey doesn't suggest, and I don't suggest that. I did, where I was still giving a little bit, but I did have this mindset of fear of not having enough, and it's almost a form of greed, and it never produces anything positive in your life, I don't think. There's a difference of having boundaries and saying no to certain things. And then there's another form of, which I don't consider that stingy giving. Stingy giving is that you're having the mindset that you're just totally in fear, and you don't want to give any money away at all. And yeah, so there's good balance of keeping boundaries, and boundaries is something that I think would be a great thing to talk about in a different episode. So I will leave that for another episode. But there's learning that to say no to certain things. There's so many ministries and so many good things you can give your money away to, but at the same time, you want to do it out of a heart of gratitude and a heart of a heart of generosity. You don't want to do it because you don't know how to say no, or you don't know how to um, uh, disperse your money correctly and the way that you are taking control of your money and telling it where to go. So the next one is responsible giving. So responsible giving, I would say, is kind of like the Dave Ramsey method. Responsible giving is one thing that I think is great. It's a great principle to start out with if you have had that like stingy giving mindset. And so I think that responsible giving will get you used to being generous, and also realizing that things will start to work out. Yeah, so I don't have an issue with responsible giving. A responsible giving to me would be that you are setting certain things in your budget, and you have a certain amount to give, and that's the only amount that you're giving for that week or month. And forgive my dog, she is drinking water. Which she definitely needs to. Anyways, so yeah, so giving your money, just having an allotted amount, which I think is great to do. I think every week and every month, set aside a certain amount that you are determined to give. For me, I give at least 20%, which is not just 20%, not 20%. I give at least 10%. Anyways, so I would say that with the 10%, at least 10% just for my gross income. And then I actually give more after that with certain organizations that I already have set up and that I believe in. And so that is, I think, a responsible giving. Now, that versus radical faith giving is very, very kind of tricky, as far as I would say that I don't know the balance of it all with this situation, with this in this category. I think it has to be on somebody's journey of their faith, of their relationship with God, and really what they're willing to risk. It's not going to be fully responsible financially. It's not going to look like it with the numbers side. And so, but at the same time, I don't like to put limits on God and what he can do. And there are great scriptures. I have a dog that wants to sit next to me. Okay, we're gonna let her sit next to me. Come here. Come. Okay, my little Maggie. All right. So, so as radical faith giving, there definitely, let me just go ahead and tell you, my experience of that was that when I was about 18, I would say like 18 years old, there was somebody that showed up at our church, and he was preaching, and he really made me understand the concept of giving as far as tithe goes. And it honestly, this is my beliefs, my doctrine that I hold on to. And you may not be on this journey, you may not even believe in this, so you do what you feel right. This is just my experience and my belief. So he suggested to do not just your net income, but do at least 10% of your gross income. And with that, I started doing, because I used to just do my net. But then when I realized, oh, you know what, I'm actually not fully tithing the amount of my gross, and then I started doing that. But then also he had talked about, there's a scripture in the Bible where it says it's the one place in scripture that actually tells you can test God in, and it's with giving and money. Or I think it's just giving. I'm not quite sure if it's money or just giving, generosity overall. But it basically says that it's the one place that we are allowed to test God to see if he'll actually provide and he will bless us from giving. So I decided to go ahead and test that out because I was in a situation where I had a pretty good, well-paying job for my age. It was secure, it was consistent, and I decided I didn't have any bills. Really, I had very little bills. I was living with my family at the time, and I just decided I would test out that scripture and test out my giving. So what I did was I actually put a number in my head of the type of salary I wanted, and then I started tithing off of that number instead of my actual 10% of what I was currently making. So I will tell you, after 6 months of me doing that, it was around 6 months, I actually had gotten a promotion, 2 promotions. One was a month away from the other one. It was just unexpected. I was not expecting it. I was doing my job. I was doing a great job. I was enjoying what I was doing, and I was taking on more responsibility. I was learning how to work hard, and I guess it just showed in my company, and they offered me a promotion, and I took it. And then a month later, another promotion came available of a new position, and I took that one as well. So after both promotions, I looked at my money and I realized, wait a second, I'm only now at my amount that I had been paying, which was way over 10%. And I turned into, that was my first, I think it was after my second promotion. That was what had already been paying, ended up where it was almost the exact amount of my now just 10% of my tithe. So it really made me realize that there was some kind of principle of a natural law of giving, where if you give, you will receive. And so I just started realizing, okay, there's something to this. And so but back then I was very, very frugal, and well, not fully frugal, but I was frugal enough to not jump into, I didn't want a credit card. I was against them. I just wanted to be cautious with big spending. I didn't want to get myself into a car loan. I had an old beater up car, and I was just very cautious about big decisions in my life, and being cautious because I knew that little spending, even though it adds up to a lot, and it did, and I've told my story on this channel before with that, but bigger spending will quickly, get rid of your income very fast. So at that time I had options, and so I was very cautious with that. So that being said, I started playing around with it after that, even more with radical faith giving. I remember giving a large amount in my head for something that I remember feeling like, I'm going to give this and test God in it, because the scripture says that you can. And I like rules, and I like things that if it gives me the freedom to do it, then I'm gonna test it out and see. So I did, and then come like a year later, I had gone, I had moved away. I was now working on half of my income, and one of the biggest financial miracles of my life I've ever seen personally came in, and I honestly felt like it had to do not with just of who I am, because in that time frame I didn't like to ask people for money, and they were teaching me how to ask for money. And I, in the ministry school that I was at, they were teaching you, you know, if you're going to be in ministry, you got to ask for money. And in my head I was like, I don't see why I have to. I mean, yeah, I understand like investing in each other's lives and investing in and sharing what you're doing and giving people the opportunity to give. But honestly, I had this issue with asking for money because I felt like it was a way of downgrading a miracle that God could bless you with, and come through for you in a different way. And so, and because I am a hard worker and I like to work for my wages, and um, I don't think there's something totally wrong with that, but as long as you have the faith to believe in that way. And I honestly think it will be a better way with relationships, because if you're constantly asking people for money, um, especially the way that you ask, it can definitely weigh down the relationship and make them feel like you are just using them and that you just see them as a money bag. So I never wanted to do that to my friends or family. Um, and so I only did it because it was a homework assignment. I think it was one or two times, and that was it. Um, but because I don't think it was because of that, but yeah, so more than the amount that I had given a year before that, I had come in to help me with my tuition with my ministry school. And it came at a time where I was almost about to drop out of ministry school because I thought, okay, I'm running out of money. I'm gonna have to start working full time. Um, I'm I have bills to pay, and I was paying. I had ended up just paying month to month for my tuition. So I was about to drop out, and I had no issue doing it and putting my schooling on hold, if not never going back, because I really felt like I had gone to the ministry school just out of obedience to where I felt like I belonged, not because I wanted that piece of paper. It didn't mean that piece of paper didn't really mean much to me, because I knew that it didn't help in your career, or at least um, it was unaccredited. So in my mindset, it didn't help with my career. So it just was an experience. It was a great experience, and I'm thankful that I did it. But anyway, so I have had, since then, I have seen a lot of people do radical faith giving. Friends of mine, where they use that scripture, they followed, they just trusted God. They gave what they felt like they were supposed to, a certain amount. And I have not heard one story so far. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there that it may have not. I don't know. All I know is that the people that I know, every single time something has come through for them, and not only just does it come through in a way of like equal amounts, but it comes way abundantly. Like it's some kind of door or opportunity for them where it's a new career or something like that. Now, there is another side of that, and there's a great recently that I've been listening to, and it's a his name's Chris Blackaby, and he's a mystic, a Christian mystic. Um, and he has a way, he's learned about living under the sonship of God, where he is walking in a way that he's not an orphan, that God provides, and to just step out and walk in the desires of your heart unto what God has placed in your heart. Nothing that is more soulish or fleshly, like as long as it's not committing sin, and it's a desire of your heart to do or go to, that God's going to provide. And he tested this by traveling on basically no money, throughout the world. I think he's done like 2 trips, um, And it's just a crazy story. So I know that there is a radical faith giving aspect and responsible giving, and I think it has to do with different experiences of your faith journey, of what you actually believe in the in who you are in the Lord. As far as are you son, daughter of God, or are you a servant of the Lord? And I think that has to do with the different mindsets. And so that was one thing that I had struggled with like the whole responsible giving versus radical faith giving. I think there's a good balance as far as doing both. And the reason why I chose Dave Ramsey's method was because I felt like I needed to get back into discipline with management and learning how to manage what I had and steward what I had, because I honestly believe that the Lord is going to start opening opportunities for me to help others teach these principles, implement them in their lives, and take control of areas of their finances, of their time, of even intentionality of their life, and getting that reset into a way that's healthy and organized and pleasant for them, so that they're no longer struggling and worried about where their next paycheck is coming from, where where their food is coming from, but coming into a different, a higher authority, and understanding that you are a son in the Lord. And with that comes benefits of God providing, but also what you can do to bless others with that and managing that well. And so that's where I'm starting to apply and learn to step out in leadership, and walking in with my finances, and seeing how much I can actually use my finances to invest in, and maximize that in a way that is like investing in the stock market, investing in businesses, managing that my finances, and managing also extra side hustles, jobs that I think that God provides us. And that, so with all of that being said, those are the three giving methods that I believe in, and that I think in life we all will probably experience a little bit of it. Maybe not the radical faith, because it does take definitely a heart transformation to walk that out, and not everybody's there, and not everybody is going to ever want to or try to risk that, because it is a high risk. I don't suggest giving all your money away. I really that's the one thing with the radical giving. I would say test it out with little and little first, unless you're in a situation where you can just give all out. But honestly, I just don't think that's very responsible and high risk, especially if you have you're in the form of caregiving for other people and providing for other people. I just because there are poor people, poor people living homeless, and that don't always have food or a meal. I know that there is some kind of principle behind that, as well as why some people get food and some people don't have miracles. I think that's a whole doctrinal discussion that for a different time. But there, what I would suggest is just doing it, making sure that you if you're feeling the motivation in your heart and the pull to do something like that with radical faith giving, test it out and see if it works. Otherwise, it might be like a mindset, and the wrong mindset or the wrong motive behind it that you're doing it. And if that's the case, I don't know if it'll actually work, if it works. And I don't know if there's a formula out there to even figure out that I think it has to do with you're building a relationship with God, and hearing, trusting, risking, and seeing him be faithful in your life. But with that, I think that God is a good God. He is a provider. So no matter what, if you're pursuing him and you're really, your heart is to do the right thing. Your heart is to pursue him and experience him, especially as a good father. I think that he will make he will provide, whether you're stupid with your money or you're not. I think that there is a lot of grace that he gives us, with providing us even when we make mistakes, and even when we've missed what we thought we felt and heard from the Lord to do. I think he provides. And that is one way I would like to say, leave this video, is that no matter your financial situation, no matter if you're struggling or you have some money set aside and you feel like you might you feel that pull to start giving and testing that scripture out, or whatever. Like, I honestly think that sometimes we put our mindset in a black and white. I know I do in the past, but this black and white box of what the Lord will do and what he won't do. And honestly, if you go as he's a good father, and you're a son and daughter that he loves and cares for, and he wants to create you as or design you and help you become a responsible human being in this world, and blessing this and people, and also carrying his character of being a good being, that he will provide no matter what, but it may not look like the way that you want it. So I would say that, sometimes in the past I have struggled financially, and a job has come available, a second job, and I took it, and I felt like it was God's provision for that. It was a sacrifice, but at the same time, it wasn't a total sacrifice. It was a sacrifice of time and energy. But I was able to, I had the grace and the ability to do it. I had the health to do it. I had not only that, but it was great experience for me personally, with the type of job. So it may be some job that you might turn your nose up to, and it might really challenge your pride. That can be God's provision, but also miracle checks in the mail that you were not expecting, that you didn't ask for anybody, and somebody just wrote you a check and they sent it to you, and they just said, hey, I felt like I was supposed to give this to you. That can be that can just be as miraculous as well as the second job. So that's why I like to say that I don't think that there is a formula, a black and white thing, that the way that the Lord uses. I think that he customizes our faith, and also customizes what we need in that moment, what will harm us, what will encourage us to step out and take responsibility of things, grow us spiritually and physically, emotionally and mentally. There's so much in there. So I could probably do a whole series on this, but this is what I just felt like on Good Friday to share for Easter weekend, to share a little bit of my faith, what the journeys and the process of what I've come through with my understanding of finances, and how I do it. Honestly, I might even change in the future. I'm still in the process of processing. I'm only 34, but at the same time, I think I've gotten a good handle of it, as far as looking at the different aspects and perspectives, and my experiences and my friends' experiences, and things like that, because it's life is messy. So anyways, I hope that you guys have a great holiday weekend, and that this gives a little bit more balance as far as any mindsets you might have experienced growing up, or you are in a circle of individuals that have certain different aspects of ideas of finances. And so anyways, I hope that y'all have a great weekend. Bye.